it on JDG just yesterday in their 2-0 over Thundertalk. And also, you know, a champion that can go a lot of different positions. I don't know. You see Crowny's tier list where he has Malphite bot lane as an S tier champion.
Oh my god.
Maybe we see that coming through from JackeyLove. Whether or not the
I love this
the Malphite bot lane. If we see that, we certainly have seen everything here in the LPL. As it will be that Cassio once again locked in. Looks like LGD didn't want the Jace, and that might have been the conversation that they were having in the draft. So they're going to go for a Trundle instead.
I'm assuming that something broke. Somebody's client crashed at the point at which they were going to lock in and they'd hovered the Jace. Otherwise, you would have had to have grabbed it first. This is fascinating if they do grab it. What?
Ref, I have a really big problem. I picked Jace with the first pick, where I actually wanted to pick it with the second pick, and that ruined our tempo in the draft. It's probably the conversation that LGD was having.
Yeah, fine. Fair enough. We don't know what the problem was then. I do like the Trundle, and the response is going to be the Pantheon, and here's the Cassante that we had just spoken about, right? As some extra level of power in the top lane. We'll see if Burdol wants to take some aggression into this lane matchup, because you certainly don't have to. You can just kind of sit back. Obviously, now that the Gnar has gone away because of Fearless, you're so able to just grab yourself this Cassante and play into it. LGD are just amassing the Avengers of strong champions if they pick this one up right here.
Yeah, Jason Locke have been two immensely strong power picks that we've seen banned a number of times. It looks like Tangyuan just baiting that out though a little bit, going for the Galio instead. Still a champion with some flexibility as we head into the second phase of pick bans. Not entirely sure where all of these picks are going to go on LGD's side.
Lots and lots of flexibility, like you said. For TES, also some level of flexibility. You can still put the Cassio into a couple of different spots, but we are probably expecting that one to go... I'd expect it to go into the ADC role, but JackeyLove, as much as he's been good on the APCs, the way that this series has been, yeah, I'm thinking actually maybe it's just going to end up in the mid lane versus this Galio. We will have to see, as there is the Sivir banned away. So again, worrying about TES going towards that late game scaling option for them, even though that's not what we've been hoping for.
So it looks like they're a little bit more worried about Creme locking in that Cassio, at least for now. Another proposition I'd like to raise to you, Bloxer, is the opportunity to maybe flex that Trundle into the top lane, have the Subjugate against the Cassante, deny some of that resistances, and you can also then send that Jace to another lane. You can even just pick a Cassante counter in its own right here on this 4-pick, something like that Gwen that you were talking about. Certainly also an option for Burdol.
There's so much flexibility in the current meta at the moment, so many different places we can potentially be looking on towards. But right now, you are expecting that counter matchup to come on through from the bot lane, but do you want your support pickup now? If it isn't then going to be the Galio, which would have been surprising, they do indeed. It is going to be the Rel locked on in. An extra level of team fighting, but this composition out of LGD right now, a little bit confused. Doesn't really have that final tying in factor. They're going to need a strong ADC to be able to round this one out.
Still a little bit of flexibility at disposal of LGD. Top Esports now looking to finish off their composition potentially with just a bot lane 2v2, and one of the strongest bot lane 2v2s that we saw in the meta in split number 2 was the Ashe Seraphine, and that might make a grand return here for JackeyLove and Zhuo, instead trying to focus on winning on that 2v2.
I'm pretty sure you made this point to Melvin Izzle a week ago, but you were saying about how when you get into game number 3s, it feels like these teams just go back a previous split. Look back and go, okay, what was strong before? And this is indeed what is happening right here. Is just going to be that Ashe Seraphine duo, a real power duo in the bot lane. There's a reason that was so high priority, and these champions haven't really fallen off. The meta has just evolved in a lot of ways. The Mel will be the final lock-in right here to round things out. That should be a Mel in the ADC spot right here. And the composition out of LGD contains a lot of damage, some level of tankiness, but it doesn't really have this just single identity. The poke is kind of the main thing I look at between the Mel and the Jace, but I don't know how much you're really going to be able to poke out this TES composition. Yeah, a lot of this game I think going to rest on Shaoye specifically, locking in the Mel, which has been that prototypical counter into the Ashe Seraphine because of your ability to reflect both ultimate abilities in the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Encore can really turn a team fight on its head, so it's going to be up to that, as well as the poke that both the Mel and Burdol's Jace should be able to provide in some of these 5v5 team fights, because if they do not get any of those tools to go their way, Top Esports just straight up win
if everybody's just running at each other at the same time.
Yeah, top esports composition is just really overall well-rounded in this situation. Now, again, it doesn't have the most early game play that we have been looking for, but it has enough to be able to look towards. It has some lanes that you can potentially be trying to play around, and then from that moment onwards, are they going to be able to just take it to LGD? For LGD, I want to see early aggression. We talk about it a lot, but it really is important to them right here because they're playing into just absolute maulers when it comes to skirmishes and then late game team fights as well.
Again, LGD back in Group Ascend. Of course, with players like Burdol and Shaoye still on their side, looking to pull off the upset against TES as we head into the game number 3 between these two squads.
And in we go. Like you said, the winner of this one going to have a lot of momentum moving on forwards, and this is something TES really doesn't feel like they want to let slip away from them right now, as we get a nice close-up right here of Tangyuan on this very pretty looking skin. I'm a big fan of this one.
I'm not 100% sure. They're probably doing a little hashtag sponsorship. Probably a new skin that came out. Not too familiar, but, you know, shout out.
It looks nice. I like it. I mean, I think Galio has a lot of good skins. I personally would still want the chicken skin. Yep. I think that's the funniest one to be pulling on through, but I still appreciate a nice, clean-looking skin when I see one. That's Tian actually trying to get himself just his romp, and he's going to have to walk away here. This is just the power of the Trundle early. He could just bully people out, and what do you do in this situation? Is Tian going to be able to grab himself his wolves and then head straight into his opponent's jungle, or is he just going to be down an early camp?
Oh, and now, essentially mid lane could be a focus here on LGD's side, with Creme being decently pushed up. It looks like instead Heng going to go towards the Raptors, just taking away that one camp on the enemy top side. Meanwhile, obviously the bot lane definitely going the Ashe Seraphine's way. Again, one thing that these two are definitely good at is the 2v2, as Chris likely is going to prefer to get out onto the map early, which means that that laning pressure just is not there.
Indeed, and early on, Tangyuan also going to go in. Heng now looking to put down the pillar flash away from Creme instantaneously, and this is the power of the Trundle. It's such a good early game ganker. It does so much damage as well, and it has a couple of tanky enough options to be looking towards as well. Still, for his trouble, Tangyuan is going to lose the vast majority of his HP. He has to be very careful about sticking around. He does have the teleport back, but he wants to stick it out.
Yep, still going to be decently low for now. So the lanes, mid and bot, definitely going top esports' way. Makes sense just given the range versus melee comparisons. In that similar situation, Burdol has a bit of a lead up on the top side. Heng able to finish off his blue buff, then make his way down towards the Scuttle Crab. One thing's for sure here at Bloxer, Heng in this series has not gone for the orthodox clears. Been very heavy invading, and now maybe looking for a play on to Jackie and Joao.
Yeah, I mean, he could potentially just go for another one of these. There we go. Okay. Stun not quite going to land. If it did, that could very easily have turned into a good, aggressive gank that would have at least blown some summoner spells. And this is what you want to look to do on the Trundle. Just trying to blow summoner spells off your opponents as much as possible. With this LGD composition needing to get rolling through the jungle early on, good spot right here onto Heng, recognizing exactly where he is, and this is one of the joys of the Ashe, right? An underutilized factor often in solo queue, but tracking your enemy jungler through, so useful.
Ooh, Burdol might have face checked Tian, but instead, going to be the Pantheon heading back to base, picking up a couple of long swords, as he is once again accelerated over Heng. That's the thing about Heng going for these creative clears. If you don't get a kill, all of a sudden your enemy jungler is going to be pretty far ahead, as is the bottom lane of top esports. The Rangers focus, forcing Shaoye back.
As much as this Mel does have some level of pressure as we get later on into the game, there's a reason that the Ashe Seraphine has been so strong. You land a single bit of slow, it can be almost impossible to just walk back away once again. Really are going to have to keep a good eye on this bot lane, because Shaoye just trying to clear is going to put him in range of that threat.
It is kind of funny that, you know, we talk about them going back to the old stuff, but this old style is what Top Esports found a lot of success on back when they were winning a lot of games in the Split 2 regular season and even the playoffs. Of course, locking themselves a spot at MSI through these dominant 2v2 lanes, and then having, you know, Tian and Creme kind of just stably play that big jungle duo. So perhaps going back to what works for them is the strategy for Top, and so far they've found a decent amount of success, still looking to try to push that lead further though.
Indeed, indeed. Nothing too explosive coming through at this point in the game so far. Obviously, we do have that first Drake available, and both junglers heading down towards the bot side.
And the rebuttal, sending that volley back towards Jackie for a little bit of extra poke. Heng making his way over to this dragon, still only level 4. Tian does have that level advantage over him, but still going to have enough bot pry with the wave bouncing back that LGD feel comfortable starting up this dragon for now.
And as much as you do have Tian in the area, he's not going to get here too early on, although he will get here within time. Tangyuan has been able to push it in the mid lane though, and will be able to walk over, cover this entrance off, and Tian even showing up on the ward. Just going to be nice, quick, early Hextech Drake going on over, and everybody loves an early Hextech Drake to be picked up for their squad. With extra power into the back pockets as we watch on through. Let's see if we're going to get a repeat gank coming through as well. With the flash down onto the mid lane, now would be the time for Heng to go back into the mid lane, try to get another gank through. Best spot for him to potentially find a kill.
It's a smart sequence there from LGD. Of course, their mid and bot lane have been pushed in for a majority of this early game, but they both found opportunities to get one wave into their opposition, and that was the exact timer that Heng used to pick up the first Hextech Dragon of the game. So it's a smart macro play have resulted in LGD picking up a small objective.
Really good to see. Recently, just timing it off of the resets coming on through. Like you said, single wave, enough for them to be able to pull this one out, and straight back to the farming you go, even for taking away that Drake. Hasn't fallen behind in terms of CS either. Things continuing on right here for LGD. Now, once we get towards these first items, that's where some really big power is going to be putting onto TES. They're going to have a lot to play through in the jungle and in the bot lane, whereas it takes a little bit longer for this bottom side of the map to really get online. The Jace is in a pretty good spot very early on at this point, and we'll see what Burdol's going to be able to do, because in the previous game, he was kind of embarrassed on that one. Yeah, he's able to get that one solo kill, but it's off of a mistake from Zuian. Otherwise, things go wrong, and yeah, speaking of going wrong.
Burdol's going to be in some trouble. Hero's entrance potentially in to save him, but no, it does not end up coming through, and at his first blood, picked up for Zuian as Burdol just caught on a really bad roam timer, giving over that first kill of the game.
I'm not even sure where he was going, what he was trying to get done in this situation. Place some wards down, potentially. I don't think mid lane was going to be a particularly gankable lane for him either. Just a big mistake.
That was not the start that LGD was looking for. Again, their composition very chaotic in nature with things like the Trundle and then these, maybe poke-oriented champions in the Mel and Jace. They are already down about 1,000 gold to a composition in Top Esports that definitely likes those 5v5 team fights a little bit more. Have this grub camp spawning now. Heng getting there first, and LGD already rotating their bot lane up, so they really want to make sure they're able to pick these up.
Absolutely, and this is a great response from them off of what happened in the previous game. As Tangyuan could potentially be a dive option right here, but I wouldn't potentially really want to be diving onto a Galio. A lot that he can do to disrupt that, and covered off, not going to happen. Really good response out of LGD, because in the previous game they got basically nothing when it came to the objectives across the map, and that was one of the big problems they ran into. They lost out onto Soul within the first 25 minutes and just couldn't do anything from that moment.
Will be all three grub camps picked up here by the Trundle. Of course, when you have this high-range composition, getting that a little extra siege power going to be even more valuable. In that situation, only about a plate costed in the bottom side for Top Esports, so really not a bad trade, all things considered. And they're going to be pretty happy about how that sequence worked for them after what was a pretty bad one previously with Burdol going down.
Indeed, things did not go particularly good for them in that situation, and as we said, one of the highest power champions you've got through this early game. You would have wanted Burdol in a stronger spot than this, and now he's jumping in again.
And this time he's got some backups. Heng and Crisp here to try to collapse here onto the Cassante, dash away, gonna deny any further engage as Zuian about to have that ultimate off cooldown as well.
just a really annoying champion to try to gank onto, and that's quite a lot of map pressure you have used right here. And you can see Shaoye just being pushed in because of it, slowly but surely losing out onto any hope pressure he could have had. There should be a turret plate as well picked up right here for JackeyLove. So LGD using their roam timers, but not really making it work. 1,600 gold in a deficit. Nothing too major at this point, but it's not going to get too much better as we have the next Drake spawning in a couple seconds' time.
Creme making his presence known in the mid lane as well. So we generate about a 20 CS lead and also dish out some damage with those twin fangs. See, Tangyuan going for maybe a slightly more aggressive build. I'd imagine this is Merc Treads into Rocket Belt, if I'm not mistaken. Not the Jack of all trades mandate style with the Storm Raider Surge in his inventory. So we're expecting to maybe see a little bit more punch coming out of this Galio eventually.
Indeed, and I mean, I do like it. You can potentially have a bit of a problem with overall tankiness in this build, so why not lean into it a little bit further still? As we now have 10 seconds until the next Drake will spawn. Once again, Heng in the area, looking to keep up with his presence around all of these objectives. Of course, his bottom lane are going to get shoved in once again right here. Same thing we expect out of the mid lane. It's going to make competing for this one a little bit harder.
Now up and available. JackeyLove and Zuo just dominant in this 2v2 situation. You can see the stats down there on the bottom of your screen. Now we open up for a fight around this second dragon. Fengyue Solero landing immediately onto Crisp, who's unable to do anything just yet. Now flashes away, and here comes the follow-up from TES. A huge miasma finds 3. Crisp looking to go forward and try to delay a little bit as Tangyuan goes in. Lands a massive Winds of 4, able to pick up a double kill for himself on the back end. But he's getting chased out by Creme and collapsed upon in a 1v2 underneath his tier 1 turret. Creme eating a decent chunk of damage. Only one more turret shot would have killed him. And so Tangyuan will escape after saving the play for LGD.
That was gonna go wrong right here for LGD. They still lose out onto a couple of kills, but Tangyuan to the rescue. Big boy damage with this build path and already making his presence felt. In the end, nobody ends up grabbing themselves the Drake, so it's all resets, head back out onto the map. However, it does look like Heng moving towards the top side. He doesn't want to go again, recognizing that that probably isn't going to work out a second time around.
Especially with 4 ultimates still on cooldown for LGD. Crisp getting caught out a bit as he used the crash down to escape. As it will instead just be resetting and jungle camps being cleared by Heng and the rest of LGD. Tangyuan really saving that play. Looks like he's not going for that damage-oriented build. Probably just going to be just that magic resist early on. Megatron closing in his inventory. But still, pretty good play from him, getting those 2 kills early. That's going to accelerate Scalio a little bit.
Indeed it is. I mean, really weird situation coming through where it's a great initial play, right? The arrow landing into this bit of damage. I really like the Grand Starfall from Tian right here, recognizing, hey, I can just keep chasing on forwards, but this from the Galio, very happy with it being this highlighted skin as well.
Legs into that one.
Boom! In that situation. Beautiful with the hero's entrance. Like you said, just the damage explosion. And the fact that he doesn't even die on the back end is lovely to see. Now, if you're completely reliant on your Galio being the main carry in this game, it's not going to work out. You need some more gold to go onto Heng, onto Shaoye, onto Burdol. Just one of them needs to find a footing in this game.
Interestingly, looks like top esports didn't want to go for that dragon, so Heng's able to clear his top side, reset, pick up a Triforce, and head right back to the scene of the crime now that all the ultimates are once again available. Burdol resetting, has teleport available, going to use it to make it a full-on 5-member assault onto the Cloud Drake. Zuian still waiting in the wings, now burning a teleport of his own. Tangyuan going to be the focus, immediately hit up by the ECA and the Encore, but the knockup will connect, and Tian going to go down first in the fight. Zuian gets batted away by Burdol, but now he's looking for the re-engage. Flashes forward, doesn't find the Pathfinder just yet, as Creme is looking to hunt down the Trundle as well. Lands the first proc of the poison, but Crisp able to use the crash down to escape once again. Beautiful peel by the Rel, but it still might cost him his life. Creme still on the hunt with the Twin Fangs, but not going to be able to find a kill. LGD end up with just a 1-for-0.
They are playing on the edge right here. LGD, the chase ability from this composition out of TES is kind of horrifying. You land just a single auto attack from JackeyLove and you saw flashes blown, every escape tool in the book. And it was really well done from Crisp. Steps up, just about manages to land that Shattered Lance, and then crash downs away, just turning his back in time to not get caught by that petrifying gaze from Creme. I mean, he was so close to either getting his jungler killed or himself killed, and he manages to get both of them out alive.
You know where we're going, Bloxer? Right back to the dragon, huh?
Let's do it again!
Once again here. Does not have the subjugate available just yet, but a lot of those ultimates on LGD still up and ready, while things like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Petrifying Gaze on cooldown for top esports. No teleports available here for Burdol or Zuian, so they're going to have to walk all the way down here if they want to join the play. Looks like the Ashe Seraphine pushing away LGD for now, but nobody wants to take this dragon just yet. Remember, it was 3 early Drakes for TS at 18 minutes. That has not happened here in Game 3.
And not for some lack of trying when it comes to these Drakes. I mean, Heng has started this one up every time he's felt like he has an opportunity, but just gets rebuffed again and again. Here we go, time number 3.
Again, both top laners not going to be able to join, so a 4v4, all things considered. Tools to look out for are now the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Encore. Encore about to come back off of cooldown, and LGD have nobody other than Shaoye that can really soak that one up before going down. Crisp immediately pops the trigger, going in onto JackeyLove, and the hero's entrance finds a knock-up golden eclipse, not yet enough damage, but the taunt is going to seal his fate. First kill going the way of LGD, and they're still making their way towards the dragon. Tian trying to jump in there, he steals it away at 12 HP and will assassinate Heng on the backside. Burdol, wow, arriving to the fight, walking down and taking down Creme. LGD might have lost the Drake, but they're trying to win the fight in response. Tian on the run as they go 2 for 1 on the play.
It's just not the Drake coming through for LGD, as Heng, he was so low, knew he was going to get killed if he gets jumped in that situation by Tian, as, yeah, speaking of getting jumped, probably going to get grabbed right here, actually is able to cancel onto the taunt, but Shaoye has now gotten here, not quite going to be able to find the kill. Heng, he thinks he's going to die, so he's just a bit antsy with the smite, like you said, 12 HP, leaves it on. Still, you win the fight as LGD, they get themselves some extra gold into their back pockets, but boy, after all of that effort, so many attempts, they would have loved to have come away with the Drake as well.
It's Crisp who starts this play. Man, they threw the kitchen sink after JackeyLove.
Yeah, they did, and they only just get him in the end as well. Tangyuan has enough to be able to jump in and keep going. Watch this from Heng though. He sees Tian walking in, he's like, oh, I need to get out of here. Just miss smites, and that sucks so bad, especially on the Trundle, right, where you've got yourself the Chomp and the smite. That combo should outsmite a Pantheon, but yeah, just happy to take that one away.
So that's a big win for top esports to at least neutralize the dragon counter, but LGD able to win out on back-to-back skirmishes. Now looking for the Rift Herald potentially next, as Tian hunting aggressively on that top side of the map. Top tier 1 turret was taken down by top esports as Zuian was able to hunt that one down in the ensuing aftermath of the team fight around the Drake. And so that is where top esports still are able to get a little bit more in the gold department.
Indeed. It makes things really close right here in this game number 3. Exactly what we wanted out of this series. Exactly what we wanted after, you know, Series 1 of the day was just a complete and utter domination. Some of the fastest games that we've seen, a fast series overall. This one giving us an extra level of hype right here. Only our second series of the day. There's another one after this as well. Plenty on the LPL here.
ELG JDG. Not necessarily an undercard in the slightest. Our rematch of the Split 1 finals coming up after this one. Make sure you stay tuned to the Twitch stream. We continue things on here in Shanghai. Still have the Herald available for the next minute and change. Looks like Tian going to be the one to get towards it first. Top esports still feeling pretty good about their state in the game, but have to wonder if they're feeling worried about the explosiveness that can come out of this LGD competition.
Absolutely, and I mean, at this point in the game, right, you've got a couple of items completed onto JackeyLove and Tian. He's in a really strong spot, but over on the other side of things, Shaoye beginning to get online. Tangyuan's already been making his presence known in this, and they're going to go push towards this Herald.
Oh, another teleport coming in from both top laners as Tian already secures the Rift Herald for top esports. Zuian on a massive flank, goes all out onto Shaoye, but is unable to pick up any more damage. Petrifying Gaze only this slow, but it will still be the 80 carry going down on LGD's side. Tangyuan soaking up 4 members of TES and will eventually get punished for it, as it is a 3 for 1 going TES's way, and they have the Rift Herald to even continue to snowball that advantage.
Yeah, they're going to take a huge chunk out of this tower right now. A couple tower shots do land, and
pillar.
Zuian as well needs to be careful. The pillar was good out of Heng. They're desperately trying to keep this tower alive. I think they are going to manage it. And in the end, TES, they're just going to have to be content with having the Rift Herald and breaking this tower another day.
Yeah, crucially, I picked up for Tian, who ended up dying. He's taking a look at this fight.
And this is just a weird bit of decision-making right here out of LGD, at the point at which they don't know that teleport's coming in. I was saying, at the point at which they see that teleport coming in, but they have no clue. All of a sudden, Zuian's on the backside of the fight. Shaoye gets popped almost instantaneously. Like I said, Tangyuan trying to soak up the damage from 4 members, but he does not have enough of his own to be able to put back. He's not going for a full damage Galio build, nor should he, as the only really tanky member in this game. But it does mean that team fight just going wrong for LGD, and TES got to be very happy with that.
I'm very curious as to what Tangyuan is doing here, because normally the mandate build goes with Jack of all trades. That's in the inspiration tree, and you see sorcery and then resolve in his rune pages. So looks like just feeling like that item is strong enough at this point.
Yep.
It looks like LGD are going to be happy about it. They do have a Mel to really capitalize on that extra damage.
Indeed, you can then grab the Imperial as the second item, right? Move on into that one. It gives you a little bit of extra tankiness, survivability at this point, and also just, you kind of need some level of tankiness on this composition, as we've been saying. It is now going to be the Rift Herald spawned in right here, looking to crack through this at mid lane tower, because we do have the next Drake available as well. And TES, they want to keep this rolling. Pillar just going to go down. It was always going to be this way. And you might... Oh, it's even stuck. Oh, that's quite funny.
Sooner rather than later, though, that turret's going to be in some danger. But it does give top esports an opportunity to make their way down towards this dragon. Again, that was a big fight that was won by LGD last time around, but now top esports have the inner positioning. Shock Blast coming out from Burdol. He's actually big in terms of poking TS out if they want to go for this 5v5. Stun immediately lands onto Heng, but the Encore is rebutted. Crisp uses the crash down to get away. JackeyLove with the Ranger's Focus still dealing a ton of damage on the LGD members, forcing them back away. And now top esports can return towards the dragon.
It just has too much range on TES's composition. LGD can't get within its guard. They can't get close enough to really be dealing the damage. They have poke. They're going to try for this one once again, potentially.
Has the Flash Magnet Storm if he wants to go for a play, but it is the Dragon. Secured here by TES. LGD not fully arriving to play just yet. Zuian with the Pathfinder, not finding a single target. So it will be top esports backing away for now. They still have the Hero's Entrance for Tangyuan if they want to go for an engage. And Creme is now chasing with Tian in with that Grand Starfall. Landing the stun onto Chris. Hero's Entrance comes out, but it might be a little bit too late. And now Tangyuan is stuck in a 1v5. Finds a little bit of damage onto the Pantheon, but Chris is going to go down first. Tangyuan second, and Shaoye and Burdol just all too late to the play. Zuian still all out, able to dish out a ton of DPS, and Tian flashes in to find the stun onto Shaoye. 3-0 in terms of a team fight win for top esports as they clear the game open at the 22-minute mark.
And they can keep hunting right here. Burdol is caught on the wrong side of the map. Gonna have to teleport himself back away. At least he gets out alive. But everything falling apart for LGD. TES, this is how we expected them to be winning against one of the lower ranked teams here. Now they've got themselves pushes happening in the mid and in the bottom lane. And all of this sets them up really well for the Baron, which will be the main prize they're looking for.
Has not been perfect, but top esports still seem to be able to eke these series out against some of our lower tier opponents as they get another look at this fight.
I don't know how you win these team fights right now with the composition that LGD have for themselves. It's great for the ganks early on, but the Jace, the Mel, they're not far enough ahead to actually be doing any damage. The Galio's not going to provide it for you. I don't know where you're really hoping for it to work out. And even beyond that, the range advantage that you have on these TES carries, and then just the damage that they're able to lay down as well, is crazy. They've got better tankiness as well. The only thing that's really been putting any thorns in their side at the moment is Shaoye being able to chuck a bunch of their own spells back at them. But that's really not just going to change the game here.
Yeah, when your best teamfight tool is one that belongs to the enemy that you have to try to reflect.
Yeah.
Not the best situation right now for LGD. It really has to come down to Crisp on these engages. We saw a big one earlier on in this game. You have to really coordinate with Tangyuan, this new support here for LGD. Former world champion Juan, alongside Tian actually, on Fun Plus Phoenix in 2019. Gonna have to get back to some of that old form if he wants LGD to have a chance to pull off the upset.
I mean, they're going to need a miracle at this point to really get back into this one. 5,000 gold, the deficit is not too much at this point, but it just feels like the overall styles that they're being played are really quite different. Tangyuan has got that 2-item complete as the Imperial second, as we were expecting to come on through. Baron, now the main focus for TES. They've got a ton of setup around it. I mean, there's no deep wards at all for LGD at the moment. Any hopes of a flank that they may have had are not going to come through.
There's really not a lot of damage on LGD's comp at the moment, specifically ability to kill this Cassante. Zuian still deathless in this game. Has picked up 2 items in the Jackshow and the Iceborne Gauntlet, working towards a 3rd with that Kindle Gem in his inventory as well. Of course, you have the Trundle to land the Subjugate down, but you still need some follow-up damage after that, and right now, not a ton of tank shredders available on LGD.
No. With enough time, they would be able to get through Zuian, but are they going to get enough time in any of these team fights before Creme and JackeyLove start their mauling? And I think Tian's been really good so far. The Grand Starfall, he's layering it on top, means any of these potential picks that you grab by Zuian or by JackeyLove with the arrow, he's then able to keep it on going, and the survivability as well that this Pantheon has is just enough to overcome the initial burst of damage that LGD are trying to lay down.
Have to be some sort of miracle play by LGD, or just somebody on top esports getting caught out of position that results in an easy pick, and then a potential Baron start for LGD. Looks like top esports is going to make that very difficult. They are still about 5,000 gold in the advantage, and Tangyuan now getting focused down by Zuian. Does not win out on that 1v1. He's going to have to just wait for that wave to crash underneath his tier 2 turret. Burdol gets hit by an arrow. That's followed up by the Encore immediately from Zhuo. Don't even need the Grand Starfall to take the LGD top laner down. And that's top esports now in a 4v5 for the next 45 seconds. And guess what? Here, Bloxer, the Baron, is up and ready for the taking.
It is indeed. They can move straight on towards this one. They're also roaming Zuian around as well, so they're just going to be in a numbers disadvantage. The teleport hasn't even come through from Tangyuan yet. I mean, I don't know that it's even worthwhile to do so. This is just simply going to be the Baron, unless you've got some magical steals coming through.
Yeah, no teleport in yet. It's just going to maybe be Hung on a one-way trip, trying to flash over. Looks like they don't even want to do that, as it's going to be Zuian sending out the rest of LGD and allowing for top esports to pick up the Baron buff.
And they can also just take their full resets, head back out onto the map, and go play around this Drake. Grab Soul Point for top esports, as everything is coming up in their favor. LGD, the pick, they just don't have any potential way of dealing with it. The only person who can survive in that situation would be Shaoye, and if he reflects that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, if you're going on to anyone else, they're just going to get taken down, and Burdol having a second pretty bad game.
Yeah, it just hasn't had an impact just yet on this Jace pick that was so highly coveted in the pick ban. Going to be Soul Point as well as that Baron going over to top esports. They are in a great position to try to close this game out in the next couple of minutes.
They want to just end this one up as quickly as possible for themselves. Get back to those winning ways as we had talked about. Even with a win here, I don't know how convinced I'm going to be of TES. We will obviously have to wait and see. As we said, right, they've got some pretty big matchups coming up for them soon as well. Right now, looking to close this one out.
Tier 2 turret taking down Creme, dishing out a ton of damage on this Cassiopeia. Tangyuan has to wait for potentially Crisp to go for some sort of engage. He jumps forward, the Justice Punch actually gets hit up by a ton of damage, but in comes the Wombo combo. Oh, the reflected Encore, able to take down 2 members of TS, but Zuian wasn't even at the fight yet, and Heng's gonna go down for the 3rd on TS's side. It's a double kill for the Pantheon, and top still have the numbers advantage for the next few minutes.
Yes, they do. Shaoye available, Burdol available, so you're probably not going to be able to end the game in this one push, although I wouldn't even be too confident in that statement. They're looking to grab themselves this bottom lane inhibitor. This mid lane tower now going to be the next bit under threat, and things just getting harder and harder for LGD to play. JackeyLove going in!
Flashes over, trying to take down Shaoye, and he wins out on the 1v1. Burdol able to get a trade, but now he's the only man left standing on LGD's side. Tian jumps forward, finishes off another kill, as Chris has finally arrived once again from the Death Chamber and will delay the end of the game for now. Tangyuan's up in 2 seconds, should be able to help his team once he comes back from that respawn, but it will be another tier 3 turret down, and top esports blowing the game open to a 9,500 gold lead.
Indeed they are, with the bot lane inhibitor open at this point. You've got so much pressure constantly pouring into the base, and LGD They tried their best. I was really impressed with the way that they played Game 1, but Game 2 and 3 just have not worked for them. Heng hasn't been able to get ahead, and you talked about it, Grapes. You talked about how the funky pathing he does early doesn't necessarily allow him to actually just establish any kind of lead unless it goes really well. It's done multiple times. We've seen him going a little bit too far in, getting caught out, and just not being able to help his team out in the ways they would really want to. Weird compositions from LGD as well in Games 2 and 3. It's such a shame, because Game 1 from them looked so good. For the side of TS, though, if you're a TS fan, or just, you know, a fan of good top-level League of Legends in general, this is better from them. I worry about how they're going to be able to play versus their next opponents in JDG. They're at least looking much better here.
Yeah, I mean, not the cleanest of series, as they obviously got demolished in that opening matchup.
It was such a fast game 1.
They were able to rebound pretty nicely, though, right? And,
yeah.
You know, this game's gone 30 minutes. It is the longest one of our 3 so far, but it has felt Top Esports dominated from the jump.
Absolutely it has. You're totally right on that one. And it could well be over pretty soon, too. You can see push coming through in the mid lane. Super Minions beginning to get a shove going in the bottom lane. The pressure will just continue on. 2 minutes until the next Baron spawns. Until then, all you need to do as TES is just keep this pressure high and wait for a potential LGD mistake. Their pick potential, their snap engage potential is super high.
It's wave clear as well with the help of Burdol. They deny this tier 3 tower for the moment. You see Chris looking for a potential engage. Does not have the flash, but does have that Magnet Storm. Try to really go for a big multi-man ulti combo onto Top Esports if they end up looping up in the back line. Another wave comes crashing in. Killer going to separate Zuian from the rest of the team.
Oh my god.
Solero lands onto Heng. Rebuttal back will send the encore into Top Esports' side, but they're able to peel off nicely before Zuian goes down. Tian jumps in and makes it a 1-for-1, taking down Chris, but Zhuo's gonna flash over and look for a little bit more with the beat drop. Guardian Angel proc by Tian, as maybe Top Esports went a little bit too far forward. Knockup gonna connect off of the revive, but the follow-up damage is there, and Shaoye gets hit up by the petrifying gaze and sent back to the grave. 4v2 on the map as Top Esports are now blowing open the Nexus turrets. It wasn't the prettiest of series, but a win is a win all the same. They bounce back mightily and are going to be able to pick up a 2-1 win over LGD.
There we go. Maybe a bit of a return to the winning ways right here for Top Esports. It's not clean, it's not easy, but they're able to do it, and the last 2 look significantly more convincing. Specifically, the jungle that we'd been so very critical of, really pulling through in games 2 and 3. That was a really good Pantheon performance here out of Tian.
And a desperately needed bounce back for him as well. Tian definitely struggling over these last few games. That loss to AL certainly big, as well as this opening game over to Heng and LGD, but Top Esports able to bounce back just like they did against ThunderTalk just about a week ago. They move up to 3-1 in the standings and set themselves up for a very interesting series against JD Gaming tomorrow.
Like you said, their matchups are coming in a couple of bunches with the way that the scheduling has worked out, and the fact they've got JDG tomorrow means it's going to be straight to the tape for them. Obviously, JDG also having a matchup to play today, so not going to be a ton of prep time for either of those teams. From LGD's side, just before we keep praising on to Top Esports, I'm really impressed with the way they were able to win Game 1, and I'm just sad about the fact that the drafts in Game 2 and 3 didn't really give them the opportunities to find a lot of plays. It felt like they got outdrafted in those second 2 games, specifically in this Game 3. They just had such a real disadvantage in terms of overall pressure, in terms of the lanes, in terms of the just range when it came to these team fights, and they just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, not the best compositions to set themselves up for success, right? It was a little bit more early game focus, but just kind of disjointed as a whole, right? On LGD side in game number 3, they lock in the Jace, but then they also have something like the Galio to follow up. It's a weird combination that didn't end up working out for them. And if we have the updated standings, I would love to take a look at where these teams currently lie. The loss here for LGD moves them down to 1-4. And Bloxer, we've been praising these bottom teams, ThunderTalk, LGD, and EDG, for at least being able to punch up a little bit. They haven't been able to really pick up that big series just yet, and that has been the defining characteristic of where our groups currently stand.
Yeah, I mean, there does feel like there's a bit of a gap forming right here between EDG and everyone else. EDG have had a a miserable time of it so far. The fact that they get 2-0'd by both LGD and Thunder Talk does not bode particularly well for them. In fact, EDG's next matchup will be versus Top Esports next week, so that's an interesting one to watch as well, to see if EDG are just kind of down and out. Like you said though, the joy is that putting yourself in Group Ascent means that it's fine. Even if you end up as one of these bottom 2 teams, it's still okay. You are still going to at least get a matchup versus one of the top 2 Group Nirvana teams. You're not instantly going home. I've watched some Thunder Talks now. I've watched some LGD now. I feel like I've got a little bit more faith in the current version of Thunder Talk, but I do get the feeling that maybe there's a higher ceiling on this LGD if they actually figure it out.
It's a weird situation where it seems like they're able to put some of it together, but not the whole pie, right? It's not the full recipe being unveiled for either of these teams yet. That's the beauty of this format, though. It's a double round robin here in Group Ascend, and LGD, Thunder Talk, EDG, they're going to be able to have other opportunities to play up against these top teams again, right? LGD was able to take a game off of BLG and Top Esports. Maybe the next time they face off against them, they can take 2. It's the growth that this youthful roster is going to be able to really hone in on over these next couple of weeks, and something that they potentially have the advantage of in terms of just getting more reps, right? That's the big difference between being in Group Ascend versus being in Group Nirvana.
Like you said, it's single round robin for those bottom teams. If you're an IG now, you're going from playing an insane schedule before to having yourself barely any games to try to get things going. They've got 6 games. 6 games, right?
And LGD already played 5. It's a very big difference.
Exactly. All of these reps that you get, especially for these younger players, as you've been saying, right? Of which Thunder Talk still does have quite a lot of these younger, less known players, or players that are trying to get back into form potentially. It's been a good look out of, I think, some of these Group Nirvana teams, like for LGD. The fact they're able to win 1 off of BLG, 1 off of TES right here. Yeah, you want them to be grabbing series, but at this point in the first half of the split, I think that 1 or 2 here and there is kind of enough for me to still have faith in the team. It's EDG who I'm currently very worried about.
You think about a team like WE last year, right? Coming up into Group Ascend for the first time, really struggling in their first 5 or 6 series, able to take games but not series wins, and then really turn it up in the second half of the round robin. They end up going on this big run up to a top 4, obviously went to top 3 last split, and now are just an established presence towards the top of the standings here in the LPL. LGD, Thunder Talk, EDG, all looking to try to accomplish that, but for now, it is LGD that falls just a bit short against Top Esports here in this best of 3. I think we have our post-game and stuff to go through still, as we just wrapped up an interview with Zuian over on the LPL official side in Shanghai. But Bloxer, it's been really fun to watch some of these bottom teams continue to play and grow. But this is more of the Top Esports that we were hoping to see, right? They went back to their roots a little bit. JackeyLove getting those damage numbers back up once more.
Yeah.
And if they can keep this game, if these last 2 games, the level of play from those up, we can be starting to be excited about them again.
I want to be excited about TES. I think throughout this entire set of games so far, I've been pretty doomer on them, but we have such high expectations for this squad. This is one of the biggest names in Chinese League of Legends, and they've been at the top for a while recently. Yeah, they've not quite been able to overcome BLG and what they've been able to do, but it's often been a conversation between BLG, AL, and Top Esports as those players, as those teams that we're really looking towards, with BLG seemingly continuing to rock on as they had been in the previous split, and AL also looking like a really good squad. That loss to AL that TES took in their previous series, again, put a lot of worry into us for what they were going to be able to do, and watching that first loss to LGD, again, really sparking that worry. But if they're able to put it together, if they're able to win this matchup and their next matchup up against JDG, all of a sudden, that's a real stabilizing force. That's a, hey, they begin to know how to win. And I think they can do it, because my read on the team at the moment is they're just not comfortable in the current meta, but that will come. We're going to be in this meta for a while.
Well, I know there's some changes maybe coming to stop this mage-centric playstyle. I know that might not be your favorite thing.
They're such whiners. Everyone else gets to play stuff. Everyone else has to learn different classes. ADCs are the worst, honestly. Honestly.
Hey, the good thing for Top Esports specifically is that due to the championship point situation of them getting second place in Split 2, if they just get like top 4 in this split, odds are they're going to be in a good position to make Worlds, or at the very least just have one series to win in order to qualify for that World Championship. So it's all about scaling up for that potential moment, whereas conversely for teams like AL and even some of these bottom tier teams like LGD, they really need top level performances in Split 3 to make up that championship mark and even be in position to play in the gauntlet once we get to the regional finals at the end of the season.
It's a really, really good point right here. BLG are going to Worlds. They would have to have... I don't even know if they could possibly drop out of one of the World spots. If they started losing now and kept losing until the end, they'd still have such a ridiculous lead over their opponent. They're a full 100 championship points over the next best team in Top Esports. Top Esports have 90. BLG have 190 right here. So Top are going to be going to Worlds, but BLG are going to Worlds. Top are most likely in a good spot, like you said. They don't have to win it all, but also, as much as anything can happen in the World Championship, you want to get there in the best spot possible with the most momentum. And if your team are struggling versus some of the bottom teams in your domestic region, it doesn't fill any of the LPL fans with that much faith that you're going to do better there once you make it to the championship.
Yeah, not like a lot of top esports fans have had faith in them internationally recently to begin with, right? So just adding a little bit more of that confidence would be great if they can continue to ramp up as this regular season continues. Reminder, this is not the same team that made it to top 2. They have a new support, and support's very important to the current state of the meta. Seems like right now, though, TES preferring to play this more bot-centric playstyle, at least in this series against LGD. They went for the 2v2 domination with the Lucian Milio and the Ashe Seraphine, and both of those worked to a T to help deliver them that 2-1 win over LGD. I believe we're waiting for that player of the game. Still a number of people it could go to. I'd imagine Tian gets a little bit of love here for his Pantheon performance, but I think overall everybody on Top Esports should be rather pleased with how those last 2 games played out.
I can see JackeyLove picking up as well. He was able to do a lot during those team fights, but I think the jungle makes the most sense. It's top lane, actually. Zuian picking this one up, and you know what? I'm happy for him in this situation. Zuian playing a really just competent game of Cassante. It doesn't often look like that much when a Cassante is going off, but he was able to do enough for his team, and I think that's really quite emblematic of how much of an overall team win it was, that nobody really stuck above the rest.
And you have to imagine, for winning both player of the games of this series, that Zuian will be voted player of the match as well for the victory over LGD Gaming. That's all for this second series, though. On our side, Bloxer, a pleasure as always. We're going to step aside for our third series of the day, a rematch of our Split 1 finals between JD Gaming and Billy. We'll have Rudu joining us on the other side once we return on LPL English.